There are 2 deaths a day to suicide in Scotland. In 2019, the UK saw 6,524 deaths to suicide. Worldwide, reported suicides are more than 700,000 each year. And these are just the reported numbers. Suicidal tendencies can affect anyone, and it reaches more than just one individual. Family members, friends, and colleagues all must contend with and face the issue of suicide each year. However, the resources available in aiding mental health issues have grown in the past 2 decades. In Scotland, services such as the Choose Life campaign, along with improved suicide prevention resources, have contributed to a 20% decrease in suicides. Journalists must also contend with the issue of suicide each year, but for a different reason: suicide reporting. How many other people are affected through their work? And what other avenues, such as social media, are they competing with? These are questions journalists must wrestle with every time they report on a suicide.
Media reporting of suicide has increased over the last few decades. The subject of suicide is always an inherently sensitive issue to report upon.
But suicide reporting is news, and it is a journalist's job to report news within their communities. By people writing about it, journalists can help understand more about suicide and break down the taboos surrounding it. However, with this job comes a great deal of responsibility to report it ethically.
There are many ethical factors that a journalist must consider before reporting. Is it morally justified to publish this story? Who is the story going to affect? Is it truthful? Is it accurate?
How are the friends and family going to feel about reading a story about their loved ones committing suicide and having to experience the pain and the grief all over again? Journalists must exercise the utmost caution.
Journalists are taught the inverted pyramid of news reporting. The introduction line must include who, what, where, when and how. It must be accurate in detail and tell the truth. Yet sometimes abiding by these rules can have a catastrophic effect on society as a whole. So very often in the past we have seen media coverage get it wrong, such as the reporting of suicide by celebrities. It is important to take the case of Robin Williams. On August 11th, 2014, the actor took his own life. This prompted an excessive amount of media coverage, as he was a very well-known and well-regarded figure. Yet some reporting of his death was misjudged. The Mail Online reported a headline stating, "In deep depression and beset by money worries, Robin Williams hanged himself as unwitting wife slept in another room. Assistant found him when he failed to appear next morning." Even the BBC, as tributes poured in and the world was shocked, stated in their report, Marin County Sheriff's Lieutenant Keith Boyd said Williams, 63, had been treated for depression and killed himself by hanging. Research shows that suicide rose 10% in the USA after Williams' death, with an estimation of 16,849 suicides would be expected from August to December 2014. Research also shows celebrity deaths often cause copycat suicides. First, a number of ordinary people identify with a celebrity who has committed suicide as an influential role model. Media exposure of a role model celebrity suicide may push an already vulnerable individual to copy that. So, how can the media report this better? The reporting of Robin Williams sparked up brand new debate on how to report suicide correctly. Traditional news values must be replaced, and new ideas must be considered when reporting suicide, such as stories that promote hope. The media should never have reported the method of how he died, as it can lead to multiple people copying. Nor should the media ever speculate the cause of his death, as many went in depth into his mental health problems. No one knows why he took his own life, apart from him.
All in all, journalists have a hugely difficult task, presenting breaking news to readers quickly and concisely against increasingly tight deadlines. However, when journalists are writing pieces, they should always consider the impact that the tone, content, prominence and imagery of their story will have on their audience.
Caroline Flack was a well-regarded and popular broadcast talent in the UK, with notable appearances spanning over a 2-decade-long career. In 2019, Flack became embroiled in controversy after she was charged for assaulting her boyfriend, Lewis Burton. A media frenzy erupted, with articles from The Sun, The Mirror and The Daily Star. On social media, namely Twitter, users exploded against Flack, making death threats against her, among other harassing messages. Just 2 months after, it was announced that Flack had committed suicide on the 15th of February 2020. For some, the news was met with heartfelt messages and articles from the same press and users who had attacked her in the first instance. For others, reports of her death were graphic in their description of the incident and spared no remorse when providing the context. The Daily Star highlighted criticism of the Crown Prosecution Service and did not take responsibility for their contribution to events as they unfolded. Flack's talent manager, Francis Ridley, said it was a show trial. Flack's case prompts serious concerns of how the media utilised their platform. This year, the Independent Office for Police Conduct was ordered to re-investigate the incident over whether Flack was treated differently because of her fame. The question has been raised, had this been a police caution instead, would the press and the social media frenzy have been as strong? Would we have been left in the same situation? Reflection on previous precedent is extremely important in situations such as Flack's case, and if the police can reflect, then so can social media users and journalists. Examples such as the Daily Star highlight that some journalists had little regard for their actions and the consequences that might bring. In Flack's case, it was clear she was struggling, and some outlets were unrelenting in their coverage. The hypocritical and graphic nature of some of the subsequent reports following her death, calling for people to be kind, show they have not learned their lesson. The cycle of hate will no doubt continue until societal attitudes shift towards a more responsible press. This is where the latest collection of resources come in to aid in the reporting of suicide. There are multiple resources that can help journalists to report suicide in the correct manner. These are the Suicide Reporting Toolkit, IPSO Membership Guide for Reporting on Suicide, the Samaritan's Guide to Media on Reporting Suicide, and the BMJ Guide for Reporting Suicide.
These tools are not just useful, but essential in ensuring journalists can provide responsible reporting on not just celebrity suicides, but for everyone. As Aristotle believed, to become more virtuous and make better ethical decisions, one must have education and learning. Journalists often find it hard to admit that they are wrong, but if more learn from these guidelines and toolkits, perhaps it may help society to better help with suicide.